All right, let's dive into Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. I mean, everyone knows this book's a total game changer in African literature.
Oh, absolutely. A cornerstone.
But today, we're going deeper. We're going
Yeah.
to figure out just why it's such a powerful counter-narrative to, you know, the typical colonial perspective,
Right. Yeah.
and what makes its portrayal of pre-colonial Igbo culture so fascinating.
Yeah. It's not just about the story itself.
Yeah.
It's like peeling back the layers,
Yeah.
the cultural nuances,
Mm.
the impact. It's shaped how we see history and literature.
Totally. So let's head right into Umofia,
Okay.
the heart of it all.
Yeah.
We meet Okonkwo, our main guy. Complex character, respected, driven.
Oh, yeah.
But he's haunted by his father, Unoka. Quick reminder for anyone who hasn't read it in a while.
Yeah.
Unoka was basically seen as a failure in Igbo society.
Yeah.
So Okonkwo's got this burning need to prove himself.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
It's key to understanding him. He's not just ambitious.
Right.
It's almost like an obsession,
Right.
embodying those Igbo ideals
Mm-hmm.
of masculinity,
Okay.
Strength, provider, warrior, everything his father wasn't.
Deep-seated need, huh?
Yeah. Shapes his whole personality.
So it's bigger than just him.
Way bigger.
It's tied to...
the values of his entire culture.
Exactly. Can you break that down a bit more? What did masculinity actually mean in Igbo culture?
Well, status and respect. Huge. Especially for men.
Mm-hmm.
They were judged on providing for family, their skills in war, contributing to the community.
Makes you think about what we value today, right?
Absolutely. And Okonkwo, with his 3 wives, his titles, he's like the poster child for this.
But there's a dark side, too.
Oh, yeah. That drive. It twists him.
How so?
He becomes harsh, controlling almost,
Yeah.
afraid to show any weakness.
And that fear leads him to some.
Pretty shocking choices.
Yeah. Like, what happens with Ekimafuna?
Right. A turning point in the book.
Big time.
Ekimafuna, that young boy, given to Okonkwo's family.
As part of a peace settlement.
Right. And the oracle.
Right.
The spiritual figure.
Revered.
Exactly. The oracle says the boy has to die. But it's Okonkwo who,
Delivers the killing blow.
himself,
Mm-hmm.
driven by that fear of seeming weak
Brutal. You can feel the weight of that choice.
throughout the whole story.
Almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. And that's Achebe's genius. These events, they're not just plot devices.
Right.
They dig into deeper themes. Societal pressures,
Mm.
personal responsibility, the consequences of clinging too tightly to expectations.
Makes you wonder. Even if the oracle hadn't said anything, would Okonkwo have found another reason?
Yeah.
Was it inevitable because of his need to prove himself? It's a lot to think about. Okonkwo's choice. It really sets the stage for what comes next.
Mm-hmm.
Part 2. It's a turning point.
Yeah.
In Uofia, I mean, in their whole history.
Mm-hmm.
The British show up,
Colonizers.
and the missionaries,
Mhm.
like watching 2 worlds collide.
It's a huge shift. Everything gets disrupted, their social structures, beliefs, even daily life. Achebe doesn't hold back. He shows you how complex it all was.
Totally. You see it in how people react. Some, like Okonkwo, are completely against it.
Right.
Others, curious or even welcoming the changes.
It divides them, creates conflict.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we have to remember, colonialism, it wasn't just about taking over land.
No, not at all. It was about imposing a whole new way of thinking, a new worldview.
Yeah, like the missionaries.
They thought they were civilizing Umofia, bringing Christianity, Western education,
or what they saw as a...
savage land.
Right, but they completely missed the point.
They ignored the existing culture, the social structures, everything Umofia already had.
It's that clash that's at the heart of Okonkwo's struggle.
Oh, absolutely. He sees them as a threat.
To everything he values, everything he's worked for. He's built his status within the Igbo system.
Now it's being dismantled right in front of him.
His resistance.
It's not just about tradition.
It's deeper.
Way deeper. It's personal.
Yeah.
He's losing himself, his identity, his sense of belonging, and then his son, Nwoyes,
Oh, man.
convert.
Heartbreaking. Really shows you that generational divide.
Are you?
Onwoye, he's always felt stifled by his father's strictness.
Right.
But Christianity, it offers him equality, forgiveness, things he doesn't see in his own culture's traditions.
It's symbolic,
In what way?
on so many levels. The pull of the new,
Hmm.
rejecting the old, the mental impact of colonialism, fracturing families, communities from the inside.
You mentioned earlier how the shifts in the novel,
Yeah.
they mirror history.
Yeah.
Can you expand on that a bit?
Of course. When colonizers arrived, Africa, Asia, the Americas.
It often led to
Depression of indigenous cultures and beliefs.
a tragic pattern. Happens over and over again across continents, time periods, and things fall apart.
Yeah.
He gives a voice to those who were silenced. We see colonialism not from the conqueror's side.
But from the conquered.
It makes you confront the human cost. Question the justifications they use.
Makes you realize history's not just facts and dates. A tapestry of lives, of experiences.
Shaped by
Forces outside their control.
Achebe's.
Yeah.
He's brilliant, the way he captures this moment.
He doesn't give you a simple good versus evil.
No.
He shows you both sides, their motivations, flaws, the consequences.
So while Okonkwo's fighting the British,
He's battling himself, too.
internally,
Struggling to adapt, the world's changing fast. And the old rules, they don't work anymore.
and that leads to his downfall.
It does. Sticking to tradition, refusing to compromise, that's his fatal flaw.
Just like the proverb.
Things fall apart. The center cannot hold.
Okonkwo's just
Guitar.
can't seem to bend, you know?
Nope.
And it really comes to a head in part 3. He's more and more isolated. Everything's crumbling.
The British are taking over,
Yeah.
consolidating their power, and then
What happens?
the district commissioner, the big guy, he arrives, wants to meet the village elders.
Okay.
But it's humiliating, the whole setup.
Oh, wow. Like a power move.
Totally. A show of force. Crush any resistance. And, well, Okonkwo has always been a man of action.
So he
He snaps. Pure defiance. Kills one of the commissioner's messengers.
explodes.
Yeah. Rage. A last stand against everything falling apart.
Tragic. You know it's going to end badly.
Eesh.
But
Hmm.
was there any other way for him? Could he have, I don't know, handled it differently?
That's the question, isn't it? Achebe makes you think. And remember, suicide.
Big taboo.
Yeah.
An Igbo culture.
Exactly. He dies. Alienated from his community, the traditions he fought for. It's devastating. Shows you the depths of colonialism's impact.
Yeah. Not just on society.
But on individuals, too. Trying to find their place when everything's upside down.
It makes you think about strength, what it really means. We think of it as power, never giving in. But things fall apart, he's saying.
There's another kind.
Maybe. The strength to adapt, compromise, find new ways to hold on to your identity, even when everything's changing.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Because Okonkwo's rigidity, his refusal to budge, that's what destroys him.
It's a warning,
About clinging to the past.
especially when the old ways.
Yeah.
They just don't work anymore. So, as we wrap up our deep dive into things fall apart, what are the big takeaways? What do you hope listeners will remember?
I think it's a masterpiece. So many layers. It's about culture clash, the cost of colonialism, fighting for your identity, fathers and sons, masculinity, ambition. It's uncomfortable. Makes you confront difficult truths about ourselves, the world.
And that's why it still matters all these years later.
Yeah.
It sticks with you. Makes you question history, culture, the choices we make when we feel out of control. So, to our listener, if you've journeyed through Things Fall Apart with us today,
Yeah.
pick up the book. Really dive into Achebe's words. It's an experience. Until next time, keep exploring.